Namaste, Vanakkam. My name is Murthy Muthuswamy. I am author of the new book, Defeating Political Islam, the New Cold War. This is the second of the lectures on Ranga-mishra Commission, set up by Prime Minister Manmohan Singh and advised to do so by Congress Party leader Sonia Gandhi. The first one talked about one of the Commission's recommendations, reservation for Muslims in both employment and in education. This lecture deals with another of the Commission's recommendations, reservation for Christian minorities in India up to 5% in both employment and in education. The first question is, are these reservations for Christian minorities justified or not? A careful study of the overall empowerment of Christians in India suggests that reservations for Christians is not justified. Let me explain why. The literacy rate of Christian minorities is about 90% compared to the literacy rate of only about 70% for the majority Hindus. The literacy reflects the overall well-being of a community, its economic status, its education levels as well. These literacy rates of Christians discounts comprehensively the notion that the Christians in India require further reservation. I'm going to point out to you that the Christian minorities already have very high levels of reservation in both education and in employment due to their exploitation or manipulation of Article 30 of Indian Constitution. Let me start with specific examples. St. Stephen's College in New Delhi, a missionary-controlled college, one of the best in India, a few years ago announced that it was reserving up to 50% of student enrollment for Christians. However, the Christian population percentage in New Delhi is only between 2 to 3%. Not only that, the salaries of teachers in St. Stephen's as well as many of the operating expenses of the college is paid by the Government of India. The Government of India gets most of its revenues from Hindu majority, who constitute 80% of India's population. There is no justification for St. Stephen's to discriminate against Hindus and other non-Christians. The missionary management claimed that they used Article 30 to justify this blatant discrimination. They said that Article 30, which allows minorities who control institutions reserve up to 50% of enrollment, student enrollment in their education institution, and reserve up to 50% of staff and faculty of their own religion, even if that institution is funded by the government. However, Article 30 was originally envisioned to help uplift underprivileged minorities in India. Christians clearly are not underprivileged minorities. The missionaries are exploiting the Constitution of India through Article 30 to blatantly discriminate against the majority and others, and subsidize Christian minority education and employment in India. These missionary discriminations extend into employment also. American College in Tamil Nadu, Union Christian College in Kerala, St. Xavier's in Mumbai have Christian faculty in the percentages of 66, 89 and 42% respectively, while the Christian minority population in these states are just 6%, 19% and 2% respectively. This shows or this proves that the Christian missionaries are deliberately denying employment for well-educated Hindus and other non-Christians and are preferentially giving employment only to Christians in government-funded colleges. If Christian institutions are only few and far between, this is not going to have much of a social impact. Unfortunately, this is not the case. Christian missionaries control well over 20% of all education institutions in India. That is about 40,000 of them. They also control well over 20% of hospitals and other healthcare clinics. It appears that the discrimination practiced by Christian missionaries cuts across all of the denominations, be it Protestant or Catholic. Perhaps about 1 million or so Hindus and others, children and youths, are being denied education opportunities and employment opportunities every year in church control but many of the government funded institutions in India. What we are seeing is an apartheid practice of Christian missionaries when the Christians constitute only 3% of the population but are controlling and discriminating through their institutions, which constitute about 20% of all education institutions. In some ways, what is happening in India is like what happened in South Africa under white rule, where the white minority appropriated unfairly and through discrimination most of the resources, including education, employment, to whites and discriminated against black majority. That these kind of religious discriminations should happen in secular India is saddening as well as maddening. India still remains by and large a very poor country. A recent study showed that about 79% of its children are malnourished and about 2 million of its children die every year due to poverty-induced effects. India needs empowerment, and for that it needs education. Unfortunately, the Christian missionaries are unfairly denying this empowerment.